There's a bit of a distinction that is important to make about isolation versus quarantine. When you test positive, you go into an isolation period, which, as long as you're asymptomatic or symptom-free at the end of it, is only 10 days. It's 14 days for quarantine, which is what happens when you are in contact with a case. But it's very important, whether you're at the end of isolation or at the end of quarantine, there is not a need to test at the end of that. CDC came out last week and actually made a pretty strong statement that if you're asymptomatic, you should not be retested within 3 months of a positive test. And so after those 10 days or 14 days, as it were, isolation or quarantine, you are clear to go back without another test. As for education during that time, as long as the child's well, I would suppose they could go to a remote learning option. And as we mentioned, most children, most children are going to be asymptomatic or have mild symptoms that should still facilitate that participation.